We're beginning today with the colors, and I have a ceramic palette here. I have already put permanent rose, which is a Holbein color. We're going to keep this simple. We're going to keep it down to 4 colors and maybe a bit of turquoise because it's stuck in my palette here. Let's take a look. And we're going to put a lemon yellow, or it's actually permanent yellow lemon, which is also a Holbein color. Where we go? There we go. And we are going to use some sap green just because I like it. It's a really good color to keep around. And this particular brand is Grumbacher, and it's a student grade. So you can buy some pretty good quality paints in a lower price. Now this one is Windsor blue. It's a pretty versatile blue. Okay, our brushes for this part, we're going to have a number 12. I've got a number 12. This is a number 6. These are rounds. And tip, try to get the best quality, the closest to Kolinsky as you can for your watercolor. They're last forever. I've had these brushes. This is Zoltan Zabo, size 8 Kolinsky, and I've had it for, oh gosh, probably 35 years. And see that? You want a good tip on your brush. There. Okay, so we've got our paints, we got our brushes, and you want to get a flat brush too. This is handy for making larger areas, washes. Let's see. And then these are some very inexpensive new brushes I bought, and the jury's still out on these. So they're very tiny. So that's always good to have too. So let's get started and just play a little bit with the colors. So start by, first of all, wet your colors. I use one of these atomizer spray containers. They're nice. When you're not using them at your desk, they're really good for chasing the cat. This rose is just gorgeous. So let's just do a swatch of rose here. I'm going to turn my palettes, see it better, and we'll move into that space. There we go. So just play with your colors. Keep it simple, and you'll have fun. So put your first one down like this, and then do another one where you just use the same amount of paint that's already on your brush. Rinse your brush out, and then just drag it down. Just rub it back and forth lightly. And see, then you've got 2 shades right there. And then if you go another one, you can just do this. Rinse your brush out again, and just spread it down. So now you've got 3 shades of rose. Okay, let's take the yellow next. Okay, we're going to put the yellow right next to it, full strength, put a square. And then we're going to take this here, rinse your brush off, and you're going to run it down. Okay, that's pretty light. We can get this one a little bit more, like so. And then you can get the really, really super light one right here. Get your brush, clean it, and run it down. Now I'm just working on a scrap piece of paper, but it's really a good idea to make swatches of all your colors, and then you've always got it on hand, and you can see what you are going to do, what you have. Okay, so I'm going to clean my brush again, and let's get some of this sap green. Sap green's just really fun. You can make your own green from the yellow and blue, but I like sap green. It's a nice color. So here's like full strength So the first box is full strength, and then your next box is half strength. Get a little bit of the watered down green, and you can see. So you have a lighter value. Your value means the intensity of the color, and hue means color. So this is a hue of sap green, and I'm going to just spread this down so it's much lighter. Okay, so our fourth color is the blue. Okay, so I'm going to get the pretty intense part of the blue, and that's Windsor blue. There we go. This is pretty potent. I'll push this up a little bit. And, oh, this is gorgeous blue. It's actually a bit like ultramarine blue. Okay, so now we're going to, let's wet our brush a little bit because this one's intense. And I'm going to just take it, just added water to the brush. There's a lot of water on there. I'm going to wipe it off. And we're going to just push it around a little bit. So look how much that changed. The value is much lighter. So now if we go down here, clean our brush, get some water on there, and there you go. Now look at that. Those are so fabulous. Now we have our first card of colors. So now what we're going to do is let's try mixing some colors. So we have another card, and here's a trick for you. If you don't want to mix in your palette, you can, well, let's just, I'll show you a little tip. Anyways, you can mix right on the page. So I'm wetting a square, okay? I'm going to take some of the blue, we'll put some of the blue on there, and we'll put some of the yellow on the other side, and let's see what happens. Clean your brush, get it semi-dry. Got my paper towel here beside me. All right, so you can just go like this and blend it together, and you'll have a green. Now, if you want it more green than that, do not scrub. Just gently dab, move the paint around, but don't scrub with your brush because you don't want to damage your watercolor paper. Now I am going to add a little bit more of the watery yellow right here. Let's put that in there and see what happens. There. Now, some people prefer to do this because then you get an interesting color as opposed to pre-mixing a color. So I will pre-mix a color now. Same, the yellow, okay, in the palette. Clean my brush, get a bit of the blue. Oh, it's been potent. This is a very potent blue. Okay. So here is a type of blue-green. That's sort of on the lines of Prussian blue. Prussian blue is one of my faves. So let's just put a bit more yellow in there. See what happens. So there's a bit more yellow. Okay. And let's go a bit more yellow again. I'm going to go yellow, yellow, yellow. And see, it's much lighter. Okay. So if you don't want to use sap green, you've got an alternative right here. Okay. So let's try something with the rose. We'll put a square here. And I'm going to just add some rose from the wet part. And let's take some of the blue. Just a bit. Wash your brush out. Get some water in it. And let's kind of play around, see what we get here. It's an adventure. All right, push this up into the camera frame here. All right, so now this will create red and blue, makes purple. And you can do it on the page like so, and it creates an interesting effect. Or you can mix right here. So I just added that. Bit of blue to the red. Not a whole lot. So we have a whole new color. A whole new hue. So now we'll lighten it up again, a bit more water. And there you go. You have a lighter value. And we could probably take it one step further. Rinse your brush off and just kind of, there we go. It's really light, really super light. Okay. Now I am going to do something with the yellow. Let's do something with the yellow. We'll do a square here. I'm going to get it right from the heavy portion. And grab some red, put that on the other side. And you know, you can always pick it up. Pick up your card and see what happens. Move it around. And you can get some great effects. This is a fun way to do it. So it gives me an idea of a workshop to do. Abstract, doing it this way. So here you've got the two colors are separated, but in the middle you can see the orange. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow to this puppy. Let's get some, we want to make an orange. And you can just kind of move it around. There we go. And so then we're going to do a lighter shade. Take this and just use the paint you have on your brush, like so. Rinse your brush. Take a little bit. And look how light we can get that. All right, here we go. I have my paint set up. Paper towels at the side, my brushes. I have a 10 by 12 sheet. And what we're going to do is by doing an abstract on here, it will be a good way of learning how to use your colors. So get your washi tape out. I have a cardboard piece in the background. And I'm going to tape it. I have already split the canvas in half, the page, and there's a line down the middle. I'm going to put a washi tape down the middle. Stuff's very sticky. Okay, so tape it down on all sides and give yourself a little margin, because when you're finished, it will be a finished work of art. And you should be very proud of it. I kept all my old paintings. And I actually have a video on my YouTube channel showing you my very first painting, and it was pretty bad. And, you know, you get through it. All right, so I'm just leaving like a 1/4 inch here all the way around. And then we're going to fill up the area inside here with our paint job. There we go. It is adhered. They look kind of cute. All right, now, is it an optical illusion or does this side look bigger than that side? I have to measure this because I did measure it all. All right, that is 14 and 3. And this is definitely, I was cockeyed. All right, too late now. I'm not going to fuss with it. Now we are going to use our ruler. I think I put that in the description. And start making shapes. All right, now I'm going to do the lines on this side. I'm going to press harder so you can see what I'm doing. All right, see, now you can see it. Pressing a little harder. It's an HB pencil. When I first started doing watercolors, I loved doing this kind of thing. And I would do paintings that were just all shapes, stars, hearts, you name it. And it was just a good way to get to know the colors. Okay, so we got some weird shapes on this one. Okay. They're more like squares than anything. We'll just chop these up a little bit. Okay. All right, you can see that. That's good. Okay. I can put my paints right here. So start with a brush and we are going to get our paint and put it in here. So get some paint, a bit of water in your brush. I'm using a size 6. And let's just do one color square. So we'll just put a solid color of red in there. Now when you're painting, don't do the square right next to it or shape right next to it while it's wet. You've got to wait for them to dry before you start putting that in. Okay, so there we go. That is a pretty solid pink. Now what we're going to do is another square. Let's take this big one over here and we're going to wet it. So let's just carefully inside the lines, wet it, not with a lot of water, just so it's damp. Okay, you can see it a little bit because there's a little bit of pink on here. Okay, and then we're going to take that same pink and we're just going to put it in here. And look how different that looks. See? So just kind of move it around a little bit. Same color, only different. Right. So the other color that is a warm color is orange. So let's mix up. First of all, I guess we could do some yellow. So I'm going to just mix some yellow in here. You can see that. Take that lemon yellow and we'll do a square of lemon yellow, just straight. And I'm using my number 8 brush. This one's a bit big. If you're doing tiny squares, you want to pick a smaller brush, but this one's got a pretty good point on it. Okay, so there's that one. Let's see. I want to do a little bit more orangey. So I just add a little bit more yellow. And we'll put it up here. And yeah, that's dry. So we can go in here. And it doesn't matter if you get watercolor paint on your tape, your painting is protected. Okay, hey, I like that. That was pretty good. That's a pretty color. And of course you can make that even lighter by adding more yellow. And maybe a bit of water. Let's water it down a little bit. Yeah, there's no need to add white to your paint. Just add more water and that will lighten up the value. So there you go. Now we've just lightened that up with a bit more yellow, but a lot more water. I'm going to rinse that out and I'm going to spread it around a bit so you can see where I'm moving it. Okay. Now it's amazing that we've started with lemon yellow. We got these colors, this type of red here from using the yellow mixed, then that, and then this color here. So let's see. Now we can get into the red, and it's got a little bit of purple there too, left over. So I'm going to just water it down. And we'll do a square over. Why should we do a square? We could go right here. Now, the cool thing about doing these things is you can also go back in and doodle if you want to make it into a little piece of art. And remember, there are no mistakes in art. So don't worry about it. Okay. And if you've got a big bubble of watercolor paint like that, you can just lift it right up. Dry your brush, see that on my paper towel, and then you can go over and you can actually lift, see that? So I'm lifting some of this paint. Let's do some lifting. This paint has got granulation going on, which is kind of cool. See that? So now I'm just lifting. And I'm not scrubbing, just kind of let your dry brush go in and just suck up the paint. Okay, let's see if we can do it on this one. This one's dry. Now this is called, there's a name for it. There, look at that. You can lift. Okay, so I'm just lightly scrubbing. See all the paint that lifted up. So my brush is fairly dry, like not bone dry, but damp dry. And you go in and you can just lift your paint like that. And you can get some great effects. A lot of people use them on Christmas pictures and cards and stuff like that when they do a card and they do this lifting technique. I forget the name. Darn. All right. So we're just working basically with two colors. And let's see. We want to create some interest here. I'm going to put a little bit more yellow in this one. Okay. This one here. Add some water. Spread it around. There we go. So the good thing about doing your warm colors, so these are the colors we got to work with. So these are your warm colors right here. So what that does is it brings unity to your painting. It's more pleasing to the eye because once you start adding your cool colors, they kind of jump out at you. So keep it simple to start with. You know, when you're learning, this is a good thing to do. All right, I think we need to have some real deep red right here. So let's do one that is really potent. Right there. And you can go in after the fact and outline this too. I got a puddle of water here. So here's how you clean up the puddle of water. I noticed the paint was pooling right there. And you just take your dry brush and roll it over it. See this? Just picks it right up. This is a size 6 Essex, and let's go with okay, so I am going to do something different and add a little bit of blue in here. Oop. Oh well, turned out to be more. Alrighty, so we've made a purple. So a red purple does lean on the warm side. Okay, putting it straight on dry paper. Now I just added some water. And I'm going to encourage the paint to flow. Oh, this is nice. It's got very grainy. You can see it there. All right. So it's not like a pure pigment. I'm going to go back in and get a bit of the other. We'll do it here. So I'm doing wet on dry. Sometimes I just draw outside the lines. What can I say? Okay. All right. We are going to, let's see, use some more yellow with what if we mix a bit of that purple mix in there? And the yellow makes it kind of a muddy color. Look at that. So let's put the muddy color right here. There we go. You can see I'm leaving a little tiny gap between, oops, this color and the purple we just put down, because if I had it bump up against it, it would jump the line and it would explode over into the other side. Let's see. Let's wet a space. Let's do this one here. Oh, it jumped the line. Okay, you can see what happens there. Look at that. Isn't that fun? We're going to just leave that one, I think, and let it do its thing. So it just kind of flowed over. Okay, I am going to mess with it a little bit and put some of this right here. So we'll have two colors in this one. And just let them flow together. See what happens. And I'm not even going to mix it. I'm just going to pick it up. And let's do this. And move it around. And you can see nice effects that it does. Okay. I'm going to go grab some salt. Now you can see the funny effect that this has caused here. Sometimes you don't want that, but we're going to leave it so you have an example of what happens. And now I'm going to, where are we dry? Make sure we're dry. And I'm going to take some of that sap green. And we'll do a square right here. Rinsing my brush a little bit. And then I'm going to spread that green around. So it's just straight sap green. And we're going to throw some salt on it so you can see a technique for creating texture. And we'll let that sit. And you let it sit till it completely dries after you put the salt on. Okay. Few spots there. Ready. It's just sea salt. You can use rock salt. There's different kinds of salt. There's so many different kinds. Whoa. And every one of them gives kind of a different effect. All right, let's do some orange. We're going to get a big lump of this yellow and get a bit of the red. Make a deeper orange. There we go. And I'll start it off real strong up here. Now your colors will look different depending on what brands you get and what colors you pick. So these are just really limited that I have here. Okay, so I'm just getting some water on my brush and we're just dragging that color down very gently so you can see it. It's kind of patchy. Go. So I'm going to leave it like that. Now this color here that we mixed is a complete neutral. You can see that it's like a beige. That was from putting a little bit of blue into the orange. I think that was from putting the blue in it. Okay, so we're going to leave that there and we're going to move to this square here and let's make a darker purple. I'm putting a bunch of water on there and I'm going to add a tiny bit of blue and let's see what happens. Ooh, that kind of gets overwhelming. That's too blue. Add some more red. Okay. Now this is really dark purple. Let's put it in this big square. Now you see how transparent they are? You can see right through it. And if you wanted to, oh, it's a bokeh. Bokeh, this technique is called bokeh. Now the name comes to me. But you can use a bokeh technique here to lift it if you wanted to lift some light spots. Okay. Sometimes I just can't remember the names of things on the spot. All right, I love that color. It's nice and yummy. And I think I'll do a real deep yellow here. This yellow, I think it's got a little tad of that blue in it. There we go. And it's okay to leave white. It's not a big deal. So let's move over to the blue side. There we go. And while that's drying, because I see my paper has buckled a little bit because of the amount of water we used. So now what we're going to do is work on, we can use purple. We've got the blue and the green. I'm going to clean my palette a little bit. Okay. So let's start with the basics. So first we can do a green. Let's do a green right here. Straight sap green right out of the tube with a bit of water. It's a pretty green. All right, so now we can take the green, put the green right there. Now yellow can be a cool color or a warm color. So let's do one over here. So I've just added some yellow to this. That's a pretty color. And now we're going to do some blue. So let's just do some straight blue first, and we'll put it right here. So this is Windsor blue, and we'll get it on there nice and thick. So it's intense color, you get the full color. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to water my color down a little bit. Let's see, move this over so you can see what I'm doing. Boy, this tape is not sticking. It's all coming up. All right, so I'm going to take the blue and add some, what am I going to do here? Add some blue to the green. So we're going to make a different green right here. This is like a forest green now. So that was adding a little bit of blue to the green. There we go. And okay, I'm going to clean my right. That's dry. I'm going to blow off the salt. Oops. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, I added more blue to the green, and I'm going to put it here. So you have blue-green. This would be called a cobalt. Oh, maybe not. Okay, that's a nice color. So all I did was the sap green, I added more of the blue. Okay, so I'm gonna put my pen here so you can see. So we're working with blue, yellow, and green. That's it. So let's put some of the yellow in with this blue-green that we mixed up and see what we come out with. Well, it's kind of similar. Well, sort of like this one here. Okay. And let's add some more yellow to that. Okay. Makes it more transparent and lighter. There you go. Okay, so now let's mess with the blue. So here we can use the purple because it has blue in it. Okay, so I'm going to layer a lot of color right here, and then I'm going to clean my brush and wet here and start pulling it down. So let's wet a square. Let's wet this one. And I'm going to do a fade on it also. So we'll just get it lightly wet, not soaking, dripping. You can let it set for a second until the shine goes off. And in the meantime, I'm going to water down our blue a little bit. And then just drop it in. So I'm just dropping this in. Okay. And then you can move it around. So you can just, if you want to, just pick this up and let it move. There you go. And if you want to help it, you can go in with your brush. And remember not to scrub, just go real light. And there we go. So now we have another shade of blue. Okay, I'm going to darken it up a little bit. Now I'm going to add more blue to this purple. So it's just what's on my brush, and I mixed it with a little bit of purple on the end there. So let's see what we got. So it's a little different color. It's lighter than the intense blue here. Okay, and let's see, let's take what I have on the brush and I'm going to mix it right here and add a bit of green. See what we come up with. This one here. Yeah, this kind of reminds me of a Prussian green. They have Prussian green, they have Prussian blue. I love the Prussian colors. Now see how it jumped the line there? You can take a piece of paper towel if you don't like it and just kind of clean that edge up. There we go. So we dried it up. Okay, I'm going to add some yellow to that green. And I'll put it here. And then I'm going to take some yellow so you can see what it looks like when you wash the two in together. Okay. Now. All right, we're going to go over here with way more purple. Put some purple here. Now, there's different blues create different purples, just so you know. They're not all going to be the same. Oops. I need more red in there. I'm going for a very dark purple, so I just mixed a little extra of my red. It's a nice color. And I especially like it when you can see bits of the blue that is unmixed. Everything doesn't have to be completely mixed. When I had my art supply store, there was some amazing artists that just dropped their colors into the paint on the page. So if they were doing a landscape, they would do these wet areas and just drop the colors in, and they were just phenomenal. Really beautiful pieces. All right, I think we need to do some more of that bright yellow, green. Let's get some of that yellow green. We'll go right here. I better keep it away from that purple, so I'm going to leave a white line in between the two there. But just so you know, yellow is the complement of purple. So we have a yellow-green right next to the purple, and that will make the green pop and the purple pop. That's how you do it. It's a push-pull. Okay, so let's go a real thick green right here. I'm going to put some blue in there. Get that rich color. Now it looks like an emerald green. Dry my brush, and I'm going to sneak up and take some of this liquid off the end here because my tape is lifting and I don't want it lifting. And when this is all done, I'm going to go and outline these either with a white or a black pen. I'm not too sure yet. But it gives it a nice finished look when you do that. Okay, so next, we need more blue. I need some blue in this. Blue, blue, blue. Right here. Add some water to my brush, wipe it off, and put it in there. some here. I'm going to wet this. And you can see I already have a little bit of blue left over on my brush. So we're just going to wet it. It's just damp. And I'm going to take the blue and just start dropping it in. Let's try that. Just kind of hit it. So there you go, another little technique. There. So just keep plonking in the color, and you get this interesting explosion here. There we go. We'll let that one be. And I'm going to put a bit of the purple down here. Go. And I'm going to put it up here too, because it's the complement. And there we go. Okay, I just want to remind you, it's an exercise. It's not necessarily a masterpiece, so you don't have to get real finicky about it, or you'll drive yourself crazy. All right, I am going to clean my yellow out, where I have this green. I love these ceramic palettes, and I'll have it listed on one of my listings on YouTube so you can find it right away. But they're heavy, but they're nice. There's just something about them that are just magical. All right, so I got wet brush, adding some yellow to it, and I'm going to put some yellow in here. And I'm going to put some yellow. Where do we want to put some yellow? Let's be bad and cross-pollinate here. I'm going to put an orange one right here because orange is the complement of blue. It's not exactly a real pretty orange either, but it is orange. Let's see what else trouble we can get into here. Put this green. Ooh, no. Yes. No. Put this green right here with a bit more. So I added more sap green to the mix that we had. Okay, that's cool. It's like a patchwork quilt. And I think I'm going to do another blue. So what if we mix the blue with the orange? So let's find out. Ooh, let's see here. How does that look? That didn't do it for me. Okay, and well, let's be really bad. I'm going to do a turquoise because I love turquoise. It just happened to be in my palette. Look how gorgeous this is. It's just gorgeous. I believe this is a Holbein turquoise. And another one of their colors I absolutely love is peacock. beautiful. Alrighty. Oh, I might have some bleed here because I touched it. Alrighty. Okay. So, and it's okay to leave a white spot on your painting, like here. I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to let it dry, and then I will, off camera, go in with my marker and...
I'm not here yet.
Oh, geez. Okay, we're at a stopping point here, and you can go in and take your tape off. This washi tape didn't work so great. Huh, didn't stick hardly at all. Wow. Okay. Probably because it's really old. Bought them years and years ago. Okay. Alrighty. So then you can take a black marker pen. Let's see, so 3. See if I can do it. I think this is a Posca pen, and it is a size 0.7 millimeters. And I'm going to go in and just, let's do on the side first. So you can use like a Sharpie or something like this. The only problem I have with Sharpies is they do fade. So beware when you're using them in your artwork. They turn a weird color after if they get exposed to the sunlight. Now you can do your lines thicker. I think I'm going to go grab a thicker one. Okay, this one's working pretty good, and it is a 1.3 millimeter. And go forth and do it. If you prefer, you can always do a white Posca pen, but I happen to have the black. So you can always create a painting doing this. Just a random design, and then fill the holes with color of your choosing. And there we go. Okay, see, I did do out the border there on that side. I don't feel like doing it on this side. So let's try this. Okay. All right, so there we have it. That's where we're at. I outlined it, and like I said, if you want, you can go back in and do some things inside the squares, doodling. But it's basically an exercise for you to feel comfortable with your colors. So these are the 4 colors that we worked with, except for where I cheated with the turquoise. But look at that. So you can create this. Easy peasy. And there we go. Okay, see, I did do out the border there on that side. I don't feel like doing it on this side. So let's try this. All right, so there we have it. That's where we're at. I outlined it, and like I said, if you want, you can go back in and do some things inside the squares, doodling. But it's basically an exercise for you to feel comfortable with your colors. So these are the 4 colors that we worked with, except for where I cheated with the turquoise. But look at that. So you can create this. Easy peasy.